Welcome everyone. I'm Jed Schlackman. I work as a holistic counselor, an energy healer, and hypnotherapist as well. Today's video is going to focus on primarily our oral health, or dental health you could say, with a specific formula for a mineral mouth rinse, but this actually affects our whole body, our overall health. It's not just for your gums or teeth. It's actually something that has an overall benefit to support homeostasis or balance throughout your body. We're going to go through the formula, the ingredients that I'm recommending for this particular mouth rinse. And before we begin, I just want to present the disclaimer that this is not medical advice or guidance from the perspective of a physician. It's for educational purposes only. It's not intended to replace the care or the diagnosis or treatment from a licensed healthcare professional such as a dentist or doctor. It's for educational purposes only, and you're encouraged to research more about these ingredients and about any issues you may be concerned with for yourself that you might be seeking to address with a mouth rinse. So, for a mouth rinse, the first ingredient would be filtered, purified water. So you could start with absolutely distilled water where it's 100% filtered. There's nothing else in that water, no minerals, no other ingredients. But you could also use reverse osmosis filtered water or carbon filtered water. You could also use a good source of spring water. So the water doesn't have to be just one specific, quote, perfect version of water. Almost any relatively clean water source could be the foundation for rinsing your mouth. The next ingredient we'll be looking at is baking soda. And baking soda is a compound that includes, it's the chemical formula NaHCO3. So the Na is sodium, H is hydrogen, C is carbon, and there's a triplet there of oxygen from the O. So those are the different atomic elements combined to create baking soda, sodium bicarbonate. For that, you'd want to find a source that's aluminum free. So here's a bag, or the remnants of a bag I had from Bob's Red Mill brand pure baking soda, and that's one brand that does have aluminum free baking soda. Some of the conventional brands might have a bit of aluminum that's present due to how those are manufactured, and if we're working on clearing out metals from our body, we don't want to be adding in more, so you'd be cautious about the source of baking soda. Baking soda is very alkaline. It's an alkalizing compound. And of course, if we think about our mouth and oral health, we want to avoid accumulations of acidity there. It's understood that excess acidity depletes the alkaline minerals from our body, and teeth are part of your skeletal system, and they're composed of alkaline minerals. So if you have a chronic state of excess acidity in your mouth, then that's going to wear away at your teeth. It'll deplete minerals. So baking soda is used in a variety of dental products because it helps neutralize those acids, so it's helping clean them out and preserving a more alkaline environment in your mouth. So if we start out, let's say, with about a quarter to half a glass of water, we can add a pinch of baking soda, maybe about a quarter teaspoon. You don't need a lot. So that's one of our ingredients. The next ingredient is calcium hydroxyapatite complex. And the calcium hydroxyapatite is the bone mineral matrix. It's what's used to create our own bone material, our teeth and bones. And it's usually sourced from a bovine source, from cattle. And it's in a powder form usually. So if you want to get just the pure microcrystalline hydroxyapatite calcium, or MCHA, you can find it from different supplement sellers. You can find it likely on eBay and Amazon, and you want to make sure that it's just the microcrystalline hydroxyapatite complex, or just the powdered bone source. You don't want it mixed with other supplements that might not be suitable for our mouth rinse purpose. So just that pure powder of the microcrystalline hydroxyapatite. Now there are some people using the nano version of hydroxyapatite. You can research that and decide if you think that's desirable for your intentions. There's some debate out there whether the nano material is safe or not, because it's nano-sized and it just goes through everywhere, so it doesn't just stay in the area where you're rinsing it in your mouth. It can circulate through your whole body. In different tooth powders and toothpastes, you see either the microcrystalline or the nano version of hydroxyapatite. It exists naturally in that microcrystalline form. It doesn't naturally occur in our body in the nano form, but the nano does penetrate more, which is why they use it in some of the products which are marketed or promoted for repairing tooth enamel. So with this, you could also use up to maybe a quarter teaspoon, placing it in the water to mix in this formula. And this is well researched as supporting bone density and tooth mineralization. So it's also alkaline. Calcium is an alkaline mineral. So this is a nice addition to our formula. And then we have one more ingredient that we'll be looking at. And this is a salt ingredient. Many of you may have used salt as part of a mouth rinse before. And there are different options for types of salt you could use. Some people just use plain table salt, sodium chloride. If you're using that, you want to be careful not to use too much, because sodium needs to be in balance with potassium in our body. And some people who already use plenty of salt in their diet, by adding additional salt or sodium exposure, they might throw that ratio out of balance. You can also use sea salt or Himalayan salt, which have many different minerals in them. The potential drawbacks with those are contamination. The salt sources where they're collected or mined from often have high levels of harmful elements or isotopes. So if you have salt, you don't want to be getting a salt that has heavy metal elevation or other contaminants. So that's why it's important to be cautious. And if you use Himalayan salt or sea salt, learn about the source, see if it's been tested for contaminants, so you'll know if there's any risk from those other elements that might be in it. What I'm going to recommend is magnesium chloride. So the chloride salts are often thought of as electrolytes. There's sodium chloride, potassium chloride, and now we're talking about magnesium chloride. Magnesium is a very abundant element in our body. We need a lot of magnesium, and it's considered to be an element that a majority of people are actually deficient in. The soils that plants grow in have become magnesium depleted, so likely you're not getting enough magnesium if you're relying only on dietary sources. So having some form of magnesium supplement is often recommended in the holistic and alternative health communities. People are taking many different forms of magnesium. Some of them are more bioavailable than others, and different forms can work more potently, let's say, for different functions of our body or different parts of the body. Some are ideal for relaxation, for calming the nervous system. Some are good for muscle recovery. Some are good as laxatives. So magnesium chloride is pretty easily absorbed, and it is especially good for the circulatory system. But of course it can benefit other areas of your body as your body processes it. So we'll run through a few benefits that magnesium chloride is believed to provide. It's something that's found to lower blood pressure, so it's good for cardiovascular health. It's something that could help with kidney function, something that could help with the nervous system. Of course, magnesium is important for our bone health, so it's a complement to calcium. You'll often see magnesium and calcium along with vitamins D and K in bone health supplements. Magnesium can also help with regulating blood sugar. So if you have diabetes or other metabolic issues, a magnesium supplement can be useful. Magnesium is also helpful with different pain and inflammation issues. It's commonly used by people with chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. It's also great for headaches. So magnesium can help with headaches and migraines, helping improve the circulation and releasing pressure, causing those aches. So we've got a lot of potential benefits from magnesium, and magnesium is something that's overall quite safe to supplement with. And here we're just using it in a mouth rinse, where we'll be gargling it or swishing it around in the mouth. So we don't need to swallow per se and have it come down through the stomach and digestive system. In fact, for this mouth rinse, especially if you're using it close to a meal time, I would recommend not gulping it down and swallowing it down through your digestive system. You don't want this strong alkalinity going down through your stomach where it can neutralize your stomach acid. We need an acidic environment in the stomach for digesting food, especially certain types of food. So you don't want to counteract that with sodium bicarbonate. So it's better with this mouth rinse to either rinse it briefly and spit out the rinse, or just rinse your mouth, gargling for a while until this all gets absorbed in the mouth, in your gums, with your saliva. So that's how you can use the mouth rinse. Here's a sample of a magnesium chloride product. Magnesium chloride is something that comes from sea or ancient mineral deposits. So you can see the label on this. And here's the back of it, where you can read more. And it usually comes as flakes, because that's the form it's naturally obtained in, mineral flakes from those mineral deposits where it's gathered. It's usually sold as a form of bath salt. People use this in their bath, so it's a nice relaxing type of salt for your bath. But we could also get some of the same types of benefits rinsing our mouth with it. If we use this, we'll find that it tends to be kind of relaxing and cleansing. So both using these different elements, bathing with it external to our body, and using it in our mouth where it's cleansing and refreshing the gums and teeth, that's also a way to benefit from it. And we're being conscious of the dose, the amount. We don't want to use too much of these. You can overdose on things that are beneficial. So I recommend doing this 2 or 3 times a day after meals, and just using no more than half a glass of water and no more than a 1/4 teaspoon of each of these ingredients: the sodium bicarbonate, magnesium chloride, and microcrystalline hydroxyapatite, calcium hydroxyapatite. If you proceed to try out this mineral formula, I invite you to share comments and feedback later. Let myself and other people know what you've experienced. For now, I'd like to share my website so you can find additional information on holistic healing services and resources. The website is phinsights.com. That's phinsights.com. For now, I wish everyone a wonderful day. Namaste.